right, so we're going to be doing 8 problems today where we factor quadratic trinomials where the leading coefficient a is not equal to 1. So we're going to put some negatives in there today for a sneak attack. So I apologize for writing the x on top of the red line of the notebook. But we're factoring 5x squared minus 6x plus 1. So my first move is, can I factor something from 5, 6, and 1? No, I can only divide 1 and 5 from 5. I can only divide 1, 2, 3, and 6 from 6. And I can only divide out 1. Well, if I divide everything by 1, it doesn't really make my polynomial get any smaller. So the answer is no, I can't factor anything out. So I'm just going to label out my a. Come on, pen, work. There we go. My a is equal to 5. My b is equal to negative 6. And my c is equal to positive 1. So now I'm going to, by the way, I'm taking off the training wheel, so I'm going to verbally say the steps, but I'm not going to write them down every single time. So what I need to do now is figure out what multiplies to a times c and adds to b. So in this case, ac is positive 5. And b is negative 6. Go back to the last unit. So in the previous unit, we said, okay, if it multiplies to a positive and adds to a negative, that needs to be a negative times a negative, because a negative times a negative makes a positive, and two negatives added together makes a negative. So let's start with the first negative case. Let's start with negative 1, negative 5. Negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5. Negative 1 plus negative 5 is negative 6. So we win on the first try. So I'm going to put a check mark right there, and there's my winning team. Okay, well, what's so special about the winning team? Well, we look at the original problem, and we're going to target that middle term, split it with the winning team, and make sure that there's an x in front of negative 1 and negative 5. So we've got 5x squared minus 6x plus 1. So we take a look at this middle term and split it into negative 1x and negative 5x. So now we've expanded our polynomial into 5x squared minus 1x minus 5x plus 1. Okay, so now comes the grand finale, the rectangle. So let's put all 4 of these pieces in their appropriate rectangular spots. So I like to target the ax squared. Ax squared goes in the big fella, the top left. C goes in the bottom right. So 5x squared goes in the top left, positive 1 goes in the bottom right, and the split bx's, it doesn't matter which one goes which. So I'm going to put negative 1x here and negative 5x here. Okay, now I'm going to cover a column. There we go. What two numbers, what can I factor out of 5 and 1? Well, just 1, so that's not really helpful. However, I can factor out something from x squared and x. So the greatest common factor of 5x squared and negative 1x, I'm going to factor out an x. Now, I'm going to let the 3 pieces fall like dominoes. X times what is 5x squared? 1 times 5 is 5. X times x is x squared. So 1x times 5x is 5x squared. X times what is negative 1x? Negative 1. All right. 5x times what is negative 5x? Negative 1. So 5x times negative 1 is negative 5x. Now, check your work. Is negative 1 times negative 1 positive 1? Yeah. So now we get 5x minus 1 factored out and x minus 1. And that's how you break this original polynomial, 5x squared minus 6x plus 1, into a multiplication problem of two binomials. See if you can do problem number 2 independently. 3x squared minus 17x plus 10. See if you can do that on your own by hitting the pause button. Okay, so first things first, can I factor something from 3, negative 17, and 10 and get all three numbers be whole numbers? No. I can't divide by 3 on all three of them, or any factor of 3, that's it, 1 or 3, that doesn't really help. So we need to figure out what multiplies to AC. Let me get my black pen. My red is going to label the A is positive 3, the B is negative 17, and my C is positive 10. So what multiplies to AC and adds to B? Well, the A and the C, 3 times 10, that's positive 30. The add to B is negative 17. So if it multiplies to positive and adds to negative, then the two numbers need to be negative times negative. So let's get on with it. Negative 1, negative 30. Negative 1 times negative 30 is positive 30, but negative 1 plus negative 30 is negative 31. I'm going to try the next case. Negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 15 is positive 30, but negative 2 plus negative 15 is negative 17. We have a winner. So that checks out. Now, I've got 3x squared minus 17x plus 10. Why am I using this winning team? Because what it does is it splits the middle term into negative 2x and negative 15x. So now I've got 3x squared minus 2x minus 15x plus 10. Let me make that a little bit darker. Okay. Now I'm going to put everything into their respective spots of the rectangle. First things first, let's put the ax squared and the c in their respective corners. Ax squared goes in the top left, and c goes in the bottom right, plus 10. And it doesn't really matter which one's which, so I'm going to put negative 15x here and negative 2x here. Okay, so once again, I'm going to cover this column. What two numbers can I factor, what number can I factor out of 3x squared and negative 15x? Well, the greatest common factor of 3 and 15 is 3. Get my red. And what I can factor out from x squared and x is an x. So the greatest common factor of these two is 3x. Okay, 3x times what is 3x squared? Right, 3 times 1 is 3, and x times x is x squared, so 3x times 1x is 3x squared. 3x times what is negative 15x? Negative 5. Let me make that a little bit darker. So negative 5. X times what is negative 2x? So since x times negative 2 is negative 2x, we need to confirm, is negative 5 times negative 2 positive 10? Yes. Therefore, we can break up this multiplication problem into x minus 5 times 3x minus 2. And that's how we can break this 3x squared minus 17x plus 10 into its factored form, x minus 5 times 3x minus 2. Okay? All right, number 3 is a little bit different. 6x squared minus 13x plus 6. First things first, can I factor something from all three of these terms? No. I can divide by 6 from 6 and 6, but I can't divide by 6 from 13. I can't divide by 3 from all three of these terms. I can't divide by 2 from all three of these terms. So it doesn't really help me out. So I'm just going to label my A, B, and C. My A is positive 6. My B is negative 13. And my C is positive 6. Okay. So now I need to figure out what multiplies to AC and adds to B. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 6 times 6, or positive 36, and yet add to negative 13. Okay, I'm going to examine this. Two numbers that multiply to a positive and add to a negative, that tells me that the combination needs to be negative, negative. So let's get on with it. Negative 1 times negative 36. Negative 1 times negative 36 is 36, but negative 1 plus negative 36 is negative 37. Okay, let's try 2. Negative 2, negative 18. Negative 2 times negative 18 is positive 36, but negative 2 plus negative 18 is negative 20. Let's try negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 12, sorry. Negative 3 times negative 12 is positive 36, but negative 3 plus negative 12 is negative 15. Look how much closer we're getting to negative 13. Can we divide by 4? I believe so. Negative 4 times negative 9 is positive 36, but negative 4 plus negative 9 is negative 13. So there's our winning team. So I'm going to put a little check. And I'm going to circle that because that's going to help me to split this middle term. So I want to split 6x squared minus 13x plus 6 by taking a look at this negative 13x and splitting it into negative 4x and negative 9x. So now our four terms are 6x squared minus 4x minus 9x plus 6. Let's put them in their respective spots of the rectangle. So I want to put my ax squared in the top left and my c in the bottom right. So my ax squared is positive 6x squared. My c is positive 6. And it doesn't matter which one is which, so I'm going to go with negative 4x here and negative 9x here. It doesn't matter. As long as ax squared is the top left and c is the bottom right, your split bx's don't really matter which one's top right, which one's bottom left. So now I'm going to cover the right column. Can I take something out from 6x squared and negative 4x? Well, I look at 6 and 4. The highest number I can divide out of both of them is 2. And of course, the highest value I can take out of x squared and x is an x. Okay? So now 2x times what is 6x squared? 3x. 2x times what is negative 4x? Negative 2. 2x times negative 2 is negative 4x. 3x times what is negative 9x? Negative 3. 3x times negative 3 is negative 9x. 3x times, check your work. Is negative 2 times negative 3 positive 6? Yeah. So now this becomes the factored form 3x minus 2 times 2x minus 3. So we literally group the dimensions, and that's what we factored this out into. Okay. I'll make that a little bit darker so that you can see. Okay. See if you can do, this one's a little bit different. This is what I meant by this is a little different. Okay. Factor 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. Well, I can't factor anything from 2, 5, and 3. So I'm going to call a equals 2 B equals 5 and C equals -3, this is going to give me a huge problem. Well, I'm going to look at this and I multiply to AC. In this case, what is AC? -6. And what is B? +5. So if that's the case, I need to figure out what two numbers multiply to a -6 but add to +5. So if I just cover this and I say, okay, it has to be a positive negative. Okay, one positive, one negative. What does the add to +5 tell me? The positive needs to be stronger. So I'm going to make a table with weak negatives and strong positives. Let's start with the obvious case. -1 and +6. -1 times +6 is -6. -1 plus 6 is, on the first try, +5. So I check that, and I'm going to use this because you're my winning team, -1 and +6. Now, I look at the +5x, and the significance of this winning team is now I can split this into -1x and +6x. So in this case, the two terms get split into one negative, one positive. Well, now I'm going to put this into the rectangle. So the big fella, 2x squared, goes in the top left. Bottom right, the -3 goes in the bottom right corner. And it doesn't matter which one goes here, where -1x goes here and 6x goes here, or 6x goes here and -1x goes here. So I'm just going to put -1x and +6x. Okay, so now I'm going to cover up the right column, and you're going to tell me which two numbers can I, what is the greatest common factor I can take out of 2x squared and -1x? Well, I can't divide anything other than 1, and I can only divide out an x, so I'm going to factor out x from 2x squared and -1x. X times what is 2x squared? 2x. X times what is -1x? -1. 2x times what is +6x? +3. Check your work. Is +3 times -1 -3? Yep. So now I can factor this into x plus 3 times 2x minus 1. Or the other way around. I could have done 2x minus 1 times x plus 3, but either way, if you get some sort of combination with this, with the appropriate signs in front of +3 and -1, you're good. You're good. As long as I see 2x minus 1 times x plus 3 in that order. Okay? All right, so let's do 6x squared minus 5x minus 4 together, and then I'll have you guys do the rest of the problems independently by pausing the screen. So let's take a look at number 5. Well, spoiler alert, I can't factor anything out of 6, 5, and 4 and get whole numbers for all three of these. So I'm going to play the ABC game, where A is equal to 6, B is equal to -5, and C is equal to -4. So in this case, if I were to label out my AC, A times C, 6 times -4, my AC is -24, and my B is -5. Well, now I need to figure out what two numbers multiply to -24 and add to -5. So if I cover this part right here, I know that if I multiply to a -24, it needs to be a positive negative. But it adds to -5. So what does that tell me about the positive negative combination? The negative needs to be stronger than the positive. So let's make a table of weak positives and strong negatives. 1 times negative 24 is negative 24. 1 plus negative 24 is negative 23. Okay, not even close. Let's try 2 and negative 12. 2 times negative 12 is negative 24. 2 plus negative 12 is negative 10. Okay, let's try 3. 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. 3 plus negative 8 is negative 5. Ah, we've got it. We've got the winning team. So now I'm going to check this marker, and then I'm going to circle my winning team. Why do I like positive 3 and negative 8? Because it allows me to split this middle term. I've got positive 3x and negative 8x. So now my 4 terms are 6x squared plus 3x minus 8x minus 4. So now let's put all 4 pieces into the rectangle, where the ax squared and the c go in their respective corners. And it doesn't matter if I want positive 3x here or there, so I'm going to put positive 3x here and negative 8x here. Okay. I'm going to cover up the right column. By the way, if you want to challenge yourself, try it the other way and see if we get the same result. If I cover the right column, what can I divide from 6x squared and negative 8x? 2x. 2x times what is 6x squared? 3x. 2x times what is negative 8x? Negative 4. 3x times what is positive 3x? Positive 1. Check your work. Is positive 1 times negative 4 negative 4? Yep. So now let's factor and make this 3x minus 4 times 2x plus 1. Okay. See if you can do 6 on your own. Just challenge yourself. Pause the video and see if you can do problem number 6 on your own. Okay, and if you're done with that, see if you can do 7 and 8 on your own. Here's 7, if you want to write that down on another sheet. Remember, these problems take a while. And here's 8. Okay. So now that you've got the hang of this, I'm going to label my A, B, and C since I can't divide anything from all 3. A is 3, B is 13, and C is negative 10. And now multiply to AC, 2 numbers that multiply to negative 30 and add to positive 13. Well, has to be a positive and a negative multiplied together, so one of each. And that add to positive 13 tells me that the positive number is stronger than the negative number. So let's make a table of weak negatives and strong positives. Negative 1 times 30 is negative 30, but negative 1 plus 30 is positive 29. That doesn't work. Let me try 2. Negative 2, positive 15. Negative 2 times 15 is negative 30. Negative 2 plus 15, however, is 13, and therefore we've got our winning team on the second try. Okay, what's so great about the winning team? Well, it allows me to split the middle term, positive 13x, into negative 2x and positive 15x. Okay, Now I'm going to put all four pieces in their appropriate spots, starting with my ax squared and my c. So now let's say I put negative 2x here and positive 15x here. Cover the right column. What can I factor out of 3x squared and negative 2x? Just x. X times what is 3x squared? 3x. X times what is negative 2x? Negative 2. 3x times what is positive 15x? Positive 5. And check your work. Is negative 2 times positive 5 negative 10? Yeah. So now I can factor this into 3x minus 2 times x plus 5. Or x plus 5 times 3x minus 2. Okay. All right. Two more problems. Okay, hopefully you did these independently. So, first things first, I'm going to look at my A, B, and C. Can I factor anything out from all three? No, they're not even, except for 2. A is equal to 2, B is equal to 3, and C is equal to negative 35. So I need to figure out the winning team. AC, two numbers that multiply to AC, 2 times negative 35, which is negative 70, and add to positive 3. So two numbers that multiply to make negative 70 tells me that it has to be a positive negative combination. But in particular, they have to add to a positive number. So that tells me that I'm going to make a table with weak negatives and strong positives. All right, so let's do negative 1 times 70. Negative 1 times 70 is negative 70. Negative 1 plus 70 is positive 69, so that doesn't help me. Let me try 2. Negative 2 and positive 35. They multiply to negative 70, but they add to 33. Okay, let's go with negative, can 3 go in there? No, it goes into 69 and it goes into 72, but it doesn't go into 70. 4 can't go in there because it goes into 60, 64, 68, 72. No, it goes in as a decimal. 5 goes into 70, and it goes in there 14 times. Negative 5 plus 14 is positive 9, so that doesn't get me there. 70 divided by 6 would be a decimal. And so let's try negative 7 and positive 10, because negative 70 divided by negative 7 is positive 10. Negative 7 plus 10, however, is positive 3. Finally, we got our winning team. So if we win with negative 7, positive 10, that means that we split the middle term, that positive 3x, into negative 7x and positive 10x. So now I'm going to put everything into the rectangle, into their respective positions. So the ax squared goes in the top left, and the c goes in the bottom right. And it doesn't matter which one's which, so I'm going to put positive 10x here and negative 7x here. Okay. What can I factor out of 2x squared and positive 10x? I can factor out a 2x. 2x times what is 2x squared? X. 2x times what is positive 10x? Positive 5. Finally, x times what is negative 7x? Negative 7. Just to check your work, is positive 5 times negative 7 equal to negative 35? Yes. So therefore, we have factored this quadratic trinomial into x plus 5 times 2x minus 7. You could have done 2x minus 7 times x plus 5 would have gotten you the same thing. Okay, last problem of the day. 6x squared minus 5x minus 14. Okay, well, I can't take anything out. Divide by 2, no. Divide by 3, no. Divide by 6, no. So I have to call it a equals 2, b equals negative 5, and c equals negative 14. So now I got to figure out what two numbers multiply to AC and add to b. Well, a times c, 2 times negative 14, is negative 28, and b is negative 5. So what this tells me is these two, my bad. 6, a is 6. I was like, wait a minute, I don't think that's possible. So my 6 times, so I need to cross that off a little bit. 6 times negative 14 is negative, 4 times 6 is 24, negative 84. So two numbers that multiply to negative 84 and add to negative 5. I apologize for making that such a scribbled mess. Anyway, so let's make this little table. So if it multiplies to negative 84, then it has to be one positive, one negative. But if it adds to negative 5, what does that tell me about the positive-negative combination? Well, that means that I'm going to make a stronger negative. So let's make a table of weak positives and strong negatives. 1 times negative 84 is negative 84. 1 plus negative 84 is negative 83. Let's try 2. 2 and negative 42. They multiply to negative 84, but they add to negative 40. So we're still a long ways away, but you see how much it cut out to get closer to negative 5? Let's see. 3 goes in there. 84 divided by 3. So if 90 divided by 3 is 30, 3 times 29 would be 87. So 3 times 28 would be 84. So 3 times negative 28 would be negative 84, but they would add to negative 25. Okay. Let's try 4. 4 goes into 84. So if 4 goes into 80 20 times, 4 should go into 84 21 times. 4 times negative 21 is negative 84. But 4 plus negative 21 is negative 17. All right. 5 does not go into 84 a whole number of times because it doesn't end at a 5 or a 0. But 6 goes in there. Okay. So 6 should go into 84. If I get a calculator, that should be negative 14 times. 6 times negative 14 is negative, 6 times negative 14 is negative 84. 6 plus negative 14 is negative 8. Look how close we are to negative 5. This is why I like doing it systematically, because I don't know this combination right now, but I know how to get there. Do it systematically. Can 7 go in there? Yes, I believe it can. 7 goes into negative 84 12 times. So 7 times negative 12 is negative 84. And added together, 7 plus negative 12 is negative 5. There we go. Bingo. So I didn't know that combination. I'll be honest with you. I have a bachelor's in math, and sometimes it takes me this table to figure it out. Try until you fail. So that being said, why do I like this winning team? Because it splits the middle term. Positive 7x negative 12x. So this can be broken down into 6x squared plus 7x minus 12x minus 14. So now I'm going to put everything into their respective spot. Let me make that line a little bit more dark. Okay, so now 6x squared goes in the top left, and negative 14 goes in the bottom right. And it doesn't matter which one's which, so I'm going to put positive 7x here and negative 12x here. I'm going to cover up the right column. What can I factor out of 6x squared and positive 7x? X. Just one x, because 6 and 7 don't have any common factors other than 1. X times what is 6x squared? 6x. X times what is positive 7x? Positive 7. 6x times what is negative 12x? Negative 2. 6x times negative 2 is negative 12x. Check your work. Is positive 7 times negative 2 equal to negative 14? Yes, then you've done the factoring correctly. So I can break this down into 6x plus 7 times x minus 2. And I know this was a lot for one day, but this is a tough unit, so you need as much practice as possible. So the next unit, I promise we will be able to factor out something from A, B, and C before we get to work. We're going to take our time with this unit, because if you can do this, I guarantee you Algebra 2 is going to be significantly easier. Have a good day, guys.